Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for December 11, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, bamboo tents after 3-year-old wounded in attack that left dad dead. Bamboo in St. Anne is now tense following a gun attack that left a father dead and his 3-year-old daughter wounded on Saturday night. The deceased has been identified as 40-year-old Orlando Atkinson, otherwise called Junior, a contractor from Lilyfield district in Bamboo. According to the police, Atkinson and his daughter were in his vehicle about 8:15 p.m. on Saturday when armed men approached and opened gunfire at them. The cops were called to the scene, and on their arrival, Atkinson was seen with gunshot wounds to the upper body and his daughter also wounded. They were transported to hospital where Atkinson was pronounced dead and his child was treated and released. There is also concern about what life will be like for the injured infants. These people have no heart. Imagine even if they went to kill a man and they saw the child, they should have just walked away. That child saw her father die right in front of her. She will never be the same. And I think that she also got shot. That is heartless, said a resident of the area who would only identify herself as a Kimon. Once upon a time, criminals had some sort of moral compass. They used to leave children alone. Now no one is off limits. The future of Jamaica doesn't look good. It is scary and sad. The leaders must do something about this, said a distraught Kimon. 3 killed in separate incidents in Mobe on Sunday. 3 murders were committed in the parish of St. James within 12 hours on Sunday. The bloodletting started at 1:30 p.m. with the killing of a man on Orange Street in downtown Montego Bay. The man, who remains unidentified, was shot by unknown assailants. By late afternoon, another man was shot and killed in Irwin, just outside the town center, and about 5:30 p.m., gunmen struck at Beckersteth near Cambridge, killing another man. The 3 deaths followed the murders of 2 brothers in Green Pond on Friday night. St. James has been under a state of emergency since November 8. JBA objects to mandatory minimum sentences for children. The Jamaican Bar Association is strongly objecting to consideration being given by Parliament to amend the Child Care and Protection Act for mandatory minimum sentences to be imposed on children for certain offenses. According to the JBA, judges will be forced to impose those sentences regardless of the circumstances of the case or the individual offender's background. The observations were noted in submissions prepared by the Criminal Law Committee of the JBA to be sent to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament considering the bill proposing changes to the CCPA. Attorney at Law Tamika Harris, who chairs the Criminal Law Committee, told the news yesterday that the mandatory minimum sentence for children as a deterrent makes no sense. Harris said, "I can hardly imagine that a Parliament believes that a potential child offender does his or her research on the law before committing a crime. It is absolutely absurd." The committee has pointed out in the submissions that Jamaica is in the clear breach of its international obligations, which it ratified in May 1991 at the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The breach, the committee emphasized, was highlighted this year by the United Kingdom Privy Council in the Jamaican case of Tafari Morrison. The committee noted that it was held by the Privy Council that Jamaica has taken a deliberate decision not to implement the terms of the UNCRC and that the country did not adopt the requirement that the detention or imprisonment of a child should be used only as a measure of last resort and for the shortest period. The committee said Jamaica's continued failure to adopt the key principles from these existing treaties, which it has ratified, is not only a breach of international law, but is depriving all children in Jamaica of their legitimate expectation that the rights guaranteed under these international agreements will be enforced and implemented in their favor by the government. Giving mandatory minimum sentences ignores the root cause of crime in our society and ignores the cries of society for better crime-fighting initiatives, witness care programs, and the lack of resources invested into the judiciary and the police force. The committee is calling for a comprehensive review of the CCPA and the removal of the distinction between children under 14 years from those over 14 years, as it will allow for better parity in the treatment and the sentencing of children. Referring to the CAT, the committee pointed out that there was evidence that mandatory minimum sentencing increases the incarceration rate and does not serve as a deterrent. The Jamaican Bar Association maintains that judicial discretion is an essential feature of a fair justice system. It ensures individual justice for each case, and mandatory minimum sentences passed by Parliament have no regard for judicial discretion, the committee emphasized. The committee, in its numerous reasons and precedents, is urging the Joint Select Committee to remove the mandatory minimum sentences from its legislative policy, which is now under review for implementation. Anchovy High mourns students' murder. The Anchovy High School in St. James was plunged into mourning on Monday after learning of the fatal shooting of a second-form male student. 14-year-old Randino James was shot and killed in the Montpelier community after taking a break from playing a game of football that heavy rains disrupted. It is reported that James and several others sought shelter from the downpour at a bar when two men alighted from a vehicle which drove up to the venue. The armed men entered the bar and opened gunfire on the occupants, hitting the schoolboy in the upper body. He was rushed to the St. James Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A 17-year-old female was also shot and injured. On Monday, students wept openly at the news of their schoolmates' demise. Led by the Student Services Department of the school, a team of grief counselors from several other schools within the area are offering counseling to both students and the teachers on the Fidel Castro campus of the school in Montpelier. As a result of the emotional impact from James's death, the school says end-of-year examinations for grade 8 students have been suspended. We most definitely could not have them sitting an exam at this time based on the emotions that they are facing and dealing with, Principal Laverne Stewart told the news. Mixed reaction as SOE takes effect in St. Andrew South Police Division. Days after the declaration of a state of emergency, residents in sections of the St. Andrew South Police Division have revealed mixed feelings about the impact the security measure will have on their lives. The country's security chiefs said that more than 25 gangs of substantial concern are operating in the St. Andrew South Police Division. The lawmen said that approximately 52% of the 113 murders so far this year are due to gang activities. Superintendent Damon Manderson of the St. Andrew Police Division listed Seaview Gardens, Waterhouse, New Haven, Whitfield Town, Cockburn Pen, and Greenwich Town as being among the troubled areas. Up to press time last night, the police had not made any major discoveries or arrests, but Manderson said the SOE will afford the lawmen to get closer to community members. We want to introduce to the residents the general concept of proximity policing, which is to be close enough to residents to forge a relationship that will see law-abiding citizens and the law enforcement coming together to rid the communities of criminal elements, Manderson told the news. Yesterday, when the news team ventured into sections of the divisions, residents had varying expectations. In Greenwich Town, one woman said she does not expect the security measures to have any major impact. She argued that criminal activities have continued in the community, despite it being a zone of special operation since July 2020. Police and soldiers always set up shop down here, but it's like the criminals always there ahead of them. So the other day a big shootout go on, and an old woman dead in the same road with the checkpoint there. Only God can help us, SOE cannot, the woman said. In Whitfield Town, however, residents echoed a more hopeful tone. One community member told the news that he feels much safer since the deployment of soldiers and policemen to violence-plagued areas. Me not gonna say we safe, but me feel a lot better now that the soldier and police them there. The bag of killing and gunshot did a shot we down. Me pray them stay here for the Christmas, so we can all right, the resident said. Another resident, though happy to see the security forces, is concerned that the thugs will return to barking their guns as soon as the security measure is lifted. Me happy and worried at the same time, because me not so sure if SOE work. Yes, the place quiet now, and me like that, but what a go happen after the police them lift up? Everything gonna go back to normal. The man them a go out with them tall up thing again, the resident said. In addition to the St. Andrew South Police Division, SOEs have been declared in St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Catherine, and Clarendon. The extreme measure will remain in place for at least 2 weeks.